Hey, how's it going, guys? I'm Paradoxic, and welcome back to Harley Quinn. Been a hot while. Been a while. I did not intend. I think I said that about quite a few different series that I react to on the channel, but I did not intend for the gap, to be that quite that large. But it's back now. We are back. I am continuing with the series. I only got 2 episodes in, so there would be no point for me to start. Only to drop it there, but I am continuing with the series, so we're back with episode number 3 of DC's Harley Quinn, and yeah, I mean, I'm loving it so far, so I have little to no reason to drop this show for any reason or anytime soon. But yeah, episode 3. Last time we had, what did we have? We had Harley and Ivy visiting the Legion of Doom at Joshua Cobblepot's bar mitzvah party. They were all there. Cobblepot and his wife held a bar mitzvah for their son, and his friends came, and some villains came, and Kite Man came. We had some funny moments. We had some good kind of headstrong moments, and some good kind of comedic moments. We had Harley deciding that she was going to try and cozy up to the Legion of Doom and try and, get like her own spot on that place, on the team even. But Joker wasn't about to stand for that. Joker was not about to let the woman who just publicly dumped him, actually garner a spot of her own on his team as well. So he was going to be the typical kind of, ex-douchebag type of guy. And he tried to kill her, then he tried to set the Legion of Doom on her, and we met the Legion of Doom. We met Scarecrow and Bane and Two-Face, and I think that there must have been someone else there too. I think those are the ones I remember. And yeah, so they were holding the bar mitzvah at the Gotham Mint specifically to stage a kind of like a bank heist, and Harley didn't know that. She ruined the entire heist. They hired like some guards from like a local improv troupe to cosplay as guards and even create like fake money, and she had no idea that, so she fucked up all of the guards, the entire improv troupe, and she tried to steal the money, but then she overheard Cobblepot describing everything like the guards aren't real guards, they're like an improv group, and the money's not real money. It's like a fake heist designed to introduce Joshua to this life and to commemorate his kind of his coming of age and everything. So she fucked all of that up, and then Joker revealed his true colors, and he didn't really want to be there. He just wanted to kind of show up Harley and everything. And there was like a whole thing with Ivy and Kite Man. Kite Man tried to get into Ivy's bed. He tried to get into Ivy's pants, but the closest he got was her bed, especially after he spiked the punch bowl with her pheromones and started to turn all the kids into trees. It was a whole thing. And she had the cure and stuff. So it was a great episode. It was a really, really fun episode, and the story is going really well so far, so I can't wait to see where we progress from here. But yeah, so Harley, I think Harley's kind of mission is still to kind of get onto the Legion of Doom and to actually carve out her own place within the Gotham criminal underworld outside of Joker's shadow. So we will see just how well that goes. So yeah, on to episode 3. If you guys want to watch the full length reaction, the full episode along with me, that reaction is going to be over on Patreon, so you can go check that out over there. But yeah, that is pretty much it. So let's go on to episode 3. Check something, so I will be very quick in doing so. Yeah, okay, I figured the voice for Lex Luthor sounds familiar, and I think I have an inkling it might be Giancarlo Esposito, like that. Like, he has a very, very distinctive kind of voice that you feel like at least from my kind of listening experience, feels like it might specifically be him. It might well be him. So Giancarlo is Lex Luthor. You know what? He nails it as Stan Edgar. He nails it as Moff Gideon. So why the hell not Lex Luthor? Why not Lex Luthor? He can definitely play that kind of intimidating solo villain role. So yeah, that was a fun episode. That was a very fun episode. We saw Harley putting together her crew and having a little bit of fun doing so. Dr. Psycho, I'm vaguely aware of him. I think I'm trying to remember. back in the day when I played DC Universe Online, there was a mission like you got missions depending on who your mentor was, and I think if you were Sis, I think is it Circe or Wonder Woman? I think it was either I think it was either Circe or Wonder Woman, because you could play as a hero or a villain. So like depending on which of those two you picked as your mentor, you got like a mission to face off against. I think Dr. Psycho might have been that villain, like a villain I could never be, because he used like mind controlled versions of actual canon characters like the Bat family mainly to actually fight you, and they were just, you know, for me, I probably just was a really like low level shit character back then, so it was actually kind of hard for me to beat them. So like that was the one villain I could never beat, and I eventually just kind of gave in and just, you know, left the game behind and stuff. So I'm curious if that villain was Dr. Psycho, because I felt like I felt like I recognized Dr. Psycho in this from somewhere, like that short kind of height and his hair and his kind of persona, like it just seemed really familiar, like really familiar, like I'd encountered it somewhere before. So I felt like he might have been one of the enemies in DC Universe Online. So yeah, but you know, his whole sequence, Dr. Psycho's whole sequence, he said the C word once, and though I think the way they showed everything stopping, like, you know, the heroes, like Wonder Woman just, you know, stood back in shock, the people around them stood back in shock, the birds stopped pissing, the dog stopped pissing on the fire hydrant, the birds fell out of the sky. I thought that would be as far as they go. Oh, the birds even hear him and understand him, and they fall out of the sky. But no, the entire world stops rotating. It stops rotating as a whole because he said the word, and then everyone's shocked, and then he starts facing the repercussions for having done so. And yeah, and I think like there is a very beautiful self-awareness to this show, and I think it's been elevated by the fact that, you know, like even the second time he said it on national television, the subtitle, the little subtitle thing said, you know, oh, man says C word a second time, we'll probably get a third chance. Let's be real, he's a man, he's saying that word, he'll probably get a third chance to try and apologize and stuff, and then he'll probably end up saying it again. And he's with Giganta. I didn't see that one coming. I think Giganta might be a villain because again, in the DC Universe Online opening cinematic, it does show Green Lantern fighting her for a bit, so I assume Giganta is a villain. So yeah, but Dr. Psycho and Giganta being together, I did not see that one coming. And then they even had a child, a teenager of their own, sat on the edge of the sofa. So that was fun. But yeah, no, Harley putting her crew together is a nice step forward from the story. So she can't, like, so like her main goal again, like she's trying to fight her way out of Joker's shadow, but also into her own limelight. It's not just about being out of Joker's shadow; it's about being actually recognized as who she is, for who she is, and not just as Joker's ex-girlfriend. So she's fighting for her own kind of spot in the limelight, outside of any kind of like because I think because again, it's like, you know, like when people see her and like hear about her, like they want her to think like she wants them to think about her as Harley Quinn before, like, and potentially never as Joker's ex-girlfriend, because she just refuses to be associated with him in any way. But yeah, I think like that is like a sign that she's fighting for like her own kind of recognition, her own kind of like not attention, but she's fighting for her own acknowledgement outside of any kind of relation to Joker. So yeah, putting together her own crew is the only other answer if she can't get into the Legion of Doom because Joker's there. So yeah, and even in that news report, in that news thing when like the Legion dropped Dr. Psycho, and I think that's a really interesting thing too. Like, if the Legion of Doom is dropping you for saying that word, then, you know, are you really, like, I mean, like, there's evil villain, and then there's just really, like, there's evil villain, and then there's like, you know, evil villain so bad that even the Legion of Doom, a group of the mightiest and most evil supervillains ever, doesn't want you around anymore either. So it could also be argued that, you know, it's for their image, like they don't want to be associated as, you know, something. I mean, they're supervillains already. Like they already commit like crime upon like dozens upon dozens of crimes. So, you know, like someone using a slur would be like much more controversial. I mean, that's the thing though. Would it like someone using a slur like would like is considered enough to have them dropped, but then if you commit crimes and you meet the kind of criteria required to be labeled as a supervillain, they might consider letting you in. But if you use slurs, if you use like, you know, if you bounce up onto, you know, controversial topics, then that might be when supervillain groups themselves actually consider dropping you. That's like an interesting kind of parallel kind of field right there to kind of think about. But yeah, no, in that news report I saw, like, you know, we had Lex Luthor, we had like Bane and Scarecrow, who we'd seen before, but I think like before the zoom in onto the TV screen, I remember seeing Black Manta, an Aquaman villain, and then after it zoomed in we saw Gorilla Grodd in the background, and then in front of him was Cheetah. So just, you know, glimpses of all the more characters who actually exist in this universe, because I think it's clear so far that they are focusing on like a select amount of characters. So it's kind of like a question of, you know, like how much are they actually willing to show, like which characters are they willing to put on, like, because then they have to think about stuff like popularity, like what characters will viewers recognize. Harley Quinn and Joker are, like, you know, obvious ones. You know, Batman, he's in this like the Justice League. They established that in this, which only makes sense because I think you can't really bring in the I mean, you could try, but I mean, if you're gonna make a show like this where other characters also exist even outside of the kind of the Batman verse, then you have to wonder what other characters you could include that would kind of help establish like a you know, fully expansive kind of universe itself. So having the Justice League in there really kind of helps to stretch it outwards and show people, yeah, this stuff all still exists. Seeing Wonder Woman in the beginning, that was cool, and then obviously with the Queen of Fables, seeing her flashback story, like she tried to she tried to break through the glass ceiling and learned the hard way that you can be as good of a supervillain as you want, but you just can't be as good as the male supervillain. So then she paid the price when the Justice League tore down all of her fantastical creations, and then instead of throwing her in a jail, I mean, they still kept her alive, but yeah, I think like that was the point she was making. Like, you know, like a guy becomes a supervillain and commits major crimes, you know, he just gets thrown into Arkham Asylum and gets to live like a somewhat more normal life. But, you know, like a woman decides to become supervillain and they just give her like the worst, most mythical and most kind of like most talked about kind of ending. And well, the less talked about ending, because I think she the Queen of Fables is stuck in like a tax book. It's not like she's stuck in like the oldest, like most popular book in the library of Gotham City. Like, she's literally just stuck in like a tax book in a tax office and everything. But people like the Riddler, Two-Face, everyone else is like stuck in, and Killer Croc is stuck in Arkham Asylum, and people are still telling stories about their exploits and everything, and people are still afraid of them. People actually still are afraid of being attacked by those villains and their goons. So it's a very, very clear kind of difference. It's a very clear difference. Like, you know, like the guys are locked away in a way that they can actually commit crimes again, but the women just, you know, if they try too hard, then they pay the price for it. So yeah, but Harley did not gladly meet that kind of ending. She put together her own crew, and yeah, I think I had another point that I was going to address. What was that point? I had a line of thought before I started talking about the Queen of Fables. I had like another thought I was going to address, another point, but I've forgotten what that is now. I don't know, I've forgotten the point now. I had a train of thought, and then Queen of Fables was part of it, but then once I started talking about the Queen of Fables, I forgot what I was actually going to talk about before that. But nevertheless, let's continue on. We had Clayface, yeah, so her crew is Clayface, her, and Dr. Psycho. So I was kind of skeptical as to how that stuff would go down, especially after all this. I mean, yeah, especially like I think because like now, I think in the next episode, like, we might see how it goes down. Because I was thinking, like, okay, well, you've got a crew now, but if you reveal that Dr. Psycho is a part of that crew, people might not, especially, pardon me, especially after the recent controversy surrounding Dr. Psycho and his language, people might not be as willing to. I mean, they might still be afraid because of him, or something else. I mean, well, she beat Zeus. Dr. Psycho beat Zeus, and then she did that one final roundhouse swing with the baseball bat, so that knocked it out of the park. No pun intended. Then, I mean, people finding out I think I wonder if they actually might go down that route of people finding out that Dr. Psycho's on the crew, and then the recent, you know, like controversy surrounding him actually affecting the way that people see her crew. Like, oh, she hires people like she hires like misogynists or women haters or something like that, and then she's going completely the wrong direction and all that kind of stuff. I wonder if they would be self-aware enough to actually go down that path, or if they might just kind of like leave that stuff in this episode and then just move past and try and have some fun with the crew. Because again, like this episode, like this series so far has shown that they're not really afraid to have a little bit of self-awareness in a way that's funny and kind of makes you look back and think of it as like a bit of a tongue-in-cheek moment. But I don't know how far they are actually willing to go with that, because I think too much might take away from the fact that it's supposed to be satirical and like it's supposed to be parodying what the characters are actually like. So I don't know. I think I'm kind of curious to see how that approach works. But I mean, so far they've got three members, including Harley. So I'm kind of curious. Ivy should be on that team. Ivy told Harley that she loves her. She told her. I mean, if you look at it through simply the words and the delivery, then it's clear that it might just be platonic, and it might just be like her being like, yeah, I love you. You're a great friend and everything. And I think it's easy. It's too easy, especially I think, like to pass it off as something platonic. But especially like in the comics, they have been together. They've been married. They've been like a proper, legitimate, established couple. So I do hope that if they want to, if the writers actually want to go down that path in this series, they're not too afraid to go down that path, and they actually can do it properly in a way that's meaningful and actually makes it seem real. So like that I mean, the initial kind of delivery of the "I love you," just I think it can be read as platonic, and some people might read it as platonic. But hey, no, God, I want my Harley. God damn it, I want my Harley. I want it to happen. I want to see how it flourishes and how they both kind of find themselves in each other, and stuff. So yeah, but I think it was still cute though. It was still very, very cute, and I think especially it being platonic also means just as much, because it means that first and foremost she does see Harley as like an actual friend and someone in her life that she cares for, and then if that blossoms into something more, then so be it. So yeah, but I do hope that Ivy actually. I mean, I don't know what other way they can go. I think once the crew start seeing success in their crimes and in their kind of work and everything, then Ivy actually might see a little bit more of like she might actually have a little bit more of like a confidence boost in the crew and actually agree to take part in it herself. And I think like if she doesn't join in the next episode might be Harley just kind of working to convince Ivy to join their leagues, and like walk with them as they find their steps to evil stardom and stuff. So I can see that happening. I can definitely see that happening. But I guess we'll see. But I don't know who else they could get on their crew. I don't know what other, because I think I don't know what other villains there are out there that they might already have, because I think that like the Legion of Doom is unarguably the biggest and most notorious kind of evil villain crew. So you can't really get anyone from them. And especially because Harley's crew is especially new. I think they're new, but I think they've obviously definitely kind of done a good job of setting their foot in place by taking out Zeus. Zeus in this, I didn't think that Zeus was like. I mean, him being a villain makes sense if you know what he's done in actual Greek mythology, but I didn't think he was an actual cat, like a figure from mythology that they then kind of super villainize into comic book lore and turn him into a villain, because I know in Marvel they actually have Hercules. In Marvel they have both Thor and Hercules. I think Hercules is Greek. I think Hercules is Greek, and then Thor is originally Norse. So that's where the mix-up came up. He said, God of thunder and the sky, and when he said thunder, I was thinking of Thor, but Thor is Norse and stuff. So yeah, I mean, Zeus could, definitely. I think he has like a lightning bolt as well. He has a lightning bolt according to Percy Jackson, anyway. So yeah, but yeah, Zeus is a supervillain. Zeus is a very disturbing, creepy supervillain at that. Obsessed with his own body, especially certain areas. But yeah, no, he kind of held like an entire seminar on how to be the ultimate supervillain, how to build your own crew, and how to do all of this, that, and the other. So he had his own ideas, and then I think Clayface pretending to be his son. I think to begin with it was hilarious, and then it just kind of just swiveled down into kind of confusion through him taking on this really distorted hunchback kind of figure with crooked teeth and a lisp, and I think. at first I was like, wait, is he actually testing him to see if he has all these things, or because each time he says something, like, Clayface obviously morphs it, and Zeus can then see that he's morphing. He literally like Zeus literally kind of visually turned him from like a normal looking guy into like a hunchback figure. So it would obviously be like a very, very visually adaptive kind of change that you would notice. I think a quarter of the way through, I kind of caught on to the fact that okay, he's just kind of pushing his luck now. He's just really just taking the piss out of Clayface intentionally. He's just really kind of just calling BS on this whole act. And yeah, Clayface is a thespian. Clayface is a thespian. So that, I mean, I didn't. Clayface was in Arkham City. I remember him predominantly from Arkham City, and I think he was an actor. Like his biography did say he was an actor in that, and then his main boss battle was actually pretending to have been Joker the entire time, like a cleaner version of Joker. So yeah, him being an actor, kind of was brought back, and I was reminded of it for this. So that is very, very fun. That is very fun. And yeah, he was all in. Like Harley gave him like one line of direction: be a mailman, and then Clayface just went and crafted like an intricate backstory full of desires and secrets and stuff. And then he went from being a mailman to being like in the space of like 2 seconds, he went from being a mailman to the long lost son of Zeus that Zeus thought his old hookup had gotten rid of somehow. Like he literally went from being a mailman, like he even when he was talking to Dr. Psycho, it was like, oh, like a mailman who dreamt of being a mailman as a young boy, watching the mailman come and go with all these letters and having all these hopes and dreams. And as soon as he opened the door, he went from being a mailman to the long lost son. Like he goes in with his roles. He goes all in with his roles, which you gotta appreciate. You gotta appreciate his actual dedication to the craft alone, as well as the actual job at hand. So you gotta appreciate that. So yeah, it's gonna be fun seeing how Clayface kind of approaches future and especially because it's improv too. He's not even following a script. He's just literally going off of improv, and then going off of whatever. Then going off of whatever Zeus being the other person says, which is literally what improv is. So he's mastered it. He has mastered the craft, not of successfully tricking other people, but still kind of actually going along with what they're saying and actually trying to pull off a convincing act. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how we move forward with him in the crew. But yeah, that is pretty much all I have. Great kind of glance at Legion of Doom and also the Justice League. The Justice League, we had we had the big three. We had Batman and Wonder Woman and Superman. I mean, Wonder Woman and Batman we've actually seen individually. Like Wonder Woman we had a glance of in this episode fighting Dr. Psycho, and then Batman, he was right there in the pilot episode. And then I think Superman, I don't know if they might bring him into this. I think the fact that they're bringing other characters into this is cool and all, but I think what I like even more is that the story still revolves around Harley and her goals and her methods and everything. So like the other characters, like we literally see the world through her eyes, what she thinks of all these other villains and what she thinks of all these other heroes and stuff. So it's cool to see that kind of interpretation where when she sees a superhero, she still sees them as something like they are a force for good, but she is kind of more naturally in her element, being like somewhat of a criminal, somewhat of like a rebel and a rule breaker. So yeah, it's cool. But I mean, I just can't get Harley out of my head. I really, I really just hope that they can actually bring that kind of thing to life, even in like the like an animated film. Because I don't know if they actually, because we have Margot Robbie as Harley Quinn on the big screen, but I don't know if they ever might actually bring Poison Ivy back in some form. So until then, DC's Harley Quinn is what we've got. So yeah, I guess we'll see. We will see exactly how the story and the characters go down. But yeah, that is pretty much it. That is all I've got from this episode. So looking forward to the next one, hopefully much sooner. But yeah, that is Harley Quinn Season 1 Episode 3. So thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you guys enjoyed it, then salt and burn that like button. Comment and read all the episode on what you think is coming up next time on Harley Quinn. And once again, the full-length reaction is going to be on Patreon, so you can go to that and check that out over there. And yeah, that is it. So, I will see you guys next time.